Good afternoon, it's Lynn at Cheese and Yogurt Making, and as we continue our journey of meeting with cheesemakers from around England, today I'm delighted to be meeting with Jake from Village Maid Cheese in Berkshire. Good afternoon, Jake.
Hello, hiya.
Oh, nice to chat with you and catch up with
you.
So we'll go straight into a little bit. You've got a wonderful website, and there's some amazing history there about how it all started. I believe your next generation, it was your mum had very humble beginnings. Is that your mum that started making cheese back in
1986? It was
86. That's it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
is she still involved, or have you taken over at this stage?
Yeah, they. So yeah, I mean, my mum and dad were both doing it together. It's pretty. I mean, yeah, mum started it from 86, and then my dad joined not long after. And my dad's kind of pretty much retired now, but I think yeah, my mum will always want to be involved in one way or another. But yeah, so she came from microbiology background. She worked for a company called the NIRD, which is the National Institute in Research and Dairy, in Shinfield, not far from where we are now. So she started playing around with cheese making and researching dairy at that point. Then went travelling on a boat with some friends that had actually built a sailing boat. Found themselves in Sardinia, and really it was when she tried pecorino sardo over there, she kind of really fell in love with that cheese and wanted to explore making something similar with sheep's milk over in the UK, because there wasn't really anything like that in the UK. And went from there, really. She had a grant to start up a business, and managed to wasn't initially with sheep's milk. She actually started working with the Duke of Wellington, because he had a herd of Guernsey cows, and started making a cheese called Wellington cheddar, which was a Guernsey milk cheddar. And then when he packed up that, he sold his herd and sold the farm and everything. She couldn't really make the Wellington cheddar anymore, so she wanted to make something else with the Guernsey milk. So went down the route of soft cheese, and that's when she started making Waterloo instead. So nice transition from Wellington to Waterloo. And then kind of alongside that was always dabbling with sheep's milk. As I say, yeah, made Spenwood in Spencer's Wood, which was a village where she had her first dairy, basing it on the pecorino sardo recipe, but obviously tweaking little things along the way. And that was where Spenwood was born, really. So from there, Neal's Dairy was the first they were the first wholesaler to start taking that. And that got quite popular. And from there decided to play around with making a soft cheese similar to Waterloo. And that was where Wigmore came from, really. So taking the sheep's milk and applying it to how she was making soft cheese. And Neal's Yard sort of said, oh, it's always nice for the cheese to be sort of named after the cheesemaker. So that was where the Wigmore name came from. Yeah, so and they were there in Spencer's Woods from 86 until 1991, or end of 91, 92. So that was actually the year that I was born. And so we moved here in Risley when I was 6 months old, and then just been here ever since, really. Started off with just a basic barn, really, that was it had been converted. It was being used commercially for a Harley Davidson workshop. So it had some good bones to it. But yeah, converted that into the first dairy, and then I've kind of extended from there about 3 times now, and just constantly just growing that original area. We're very lucky that we still have plenty of space here, and obviously planning and stuff like that is always difficult, but yeah, we've still got some potential for growth where we are, which is nice.
That's good. Wonderful. So you've named some of the cheeses there. We just talk about the cheese. Obviously, you're very much involved now. And we've got the Heckfield. I noticed that the cheese, because we've got connections with Heckfield. We've made quite a lot of equipment for them. So
oh, really?
yeah, we've built out their cheese room and bits, Bruce himself. So we've got the Heckfield. What style cheese is the Heckfield again? Remind me, what type of cheese?
So Heckfield is, sorry, I'm just trying to set the alarm. I'm just going to.
That's okay.
Sorry about that. So Heckfield, yeah, was based on the Stenwood recipe, really.
Yeah.
But we'd never made, just never really tried making, you know, the Stenwood recipe with the Guernsey milk. So that was kind of the plan for it. It did need tweaking in some areas, just because you're using a completely different milk. You know, just made up very differently to sheep's milk. But yeah, somewhere along the way, it developed into a nice, not quite what we imagined originally. I think like it's kind of become like a semi-hard cheese. Like it's definitely not got the same texture as Stenwood, but I think you'd always expect that when you're using Guernsey milk. It's very high in butterfat. And yeah, it's really unique. Really, it's obviously called Heckfield because the milk comes from Heckfield Place.
That's right.
And yeah, it's very difficult to kind of pigeonhole it into a style of cheese, because some people say it's got this characteristic of cheddar, and then other people say, oh, it's got this more like an Alpine, and this like a raclette, like it melts like a raclette. And so it's nice how it's completely completely unique, really, in its makeup. And yeah, it's interesting to use in cooking and stuff like that, for sure.
Yeah, and all of these cheeses people can find out more on the website. Obviously there's posts on social media and things on Instagram. You've got lots of followers. But I did want to talk a bit about these workshops that you're doing, and I noticed you've got one this Friday as well. Still some spaces available. We'll have to
I think there's only one space left for this one.
Okay.
But no, they sell out very quickly. It's hard work for sure, but it's interesting. It's nice sort of delving into hospitality instead. You know, instead of manufacturing, just like a completely different path for us, and it's been like a real learning curve. And I feel like every one we do, we kind of improve on, and we find different things that we can add to it. And but yeah, the general idea is to teach people the basics, like the fundamentals of cheese making, and alongside that, give them a tour or like an insight into how we make our cheese. So it's quite nice how we tend to move our guests from the make itself, so from the cheese that they are making in, and then they come into the dairy, they see a bit of that, they come back into the workshop, and they carry on. So just because of how cheese is made, you obviously have to leave it for periods of time. And yeah, it's a nice way of kind of spreading it out. And just people seem to have responded from it really well, and saying, you know, they've learned a great deal from it, and it's very, very different to your average day out, for sure.
Oh God,
but it's they're becoming really popular. So we're hoping to just keep adding more and more dates.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I can see there's 2 or 3 dates for this year, spread out, but not sort of every week or anything. So again, if you know, people couldn't check out the website, and it's as simple as you just go on, pop it in the basket, you know, wherever you're from, you just doesn't matter, make a weekend of it and come down, you know. And as you say, it's very different and something you're not going to do every day, and they're very popular.
No, definitely not. Yeah, and it's nice when you know we see the reaction from people after they've spent the day here, and they're just very kind of enlightened, really, like that they didn't know. They just, like most people have eaten cheese their whole lives, but they just don't. They've never seen how it's made, and they don't really know the first thing about. You tend to think like, oh, how does it get from milk to that? And so it just gives you the full picture, really, to be able to take that away with you.
It's brilliant. Going back to the cheeses again, and people buying them. I know you can buy online. Where else are your where do you stock? Where are your stockists, or what you've got coming up for market wise, or anything? What are your plans?
So we work with like an independent. It's someone from our family actually runs a business alongside ours called Village Markets. He tends to do. He's actually based in the Cotswolds, so he does markets at Stroud, Cirencester, Cheltenham, Gloucester, but then he also does some around here. So he does Reading, about 2 or 3 around like central Reading, Caversham area. We do some shows here and there, but definitely not as many as we used to. Really, it's just just not really our priority at the moment. And then in terms of, it's always difficult to keep track of where the stockists are, because we primarily sell to wholesalers. But obviously Neal's Yard Dairy is a big one. We know from all of their shops, from online as well. But then it's like a huge amount of our stock goes to London, to Paxton Whitfield, La Fromagerie, Bailey and Sage, Whole Foods, and then in your department stores, Harvey Nichols, Harrods, Selfridges, places like that. And it just kind of constantly pops up in restaurants as well. It's lovely always hearing that it's in some really great restaurants, from sort of the Dorchester to Sketch in London, and then apparently Buckingham Palace and the Ritz, and so
just a few good places there.
It's lovely to always when you hear, people will kind of send us a photo of it in one of those really nice restaurants, and you're like, wow, that's really cool that it's got there, and we didn't actually know that. But it just kind of gets around. And we it's just Spenwood has actually just started being sent to Tokyo. So it's in a very, very nice cheese shop called I'm not sure it's pronounced Yamas or Lamas. It's spelled Lamas, and that's in Tokyo, which is cool. And then it goes to the US and stuff like that as well. So
you can't really ask for any more than that. It's getting around. It's getting to some big places and far-flung places as well, by the sound of it. Oh wow, amazing. So people may have even had it and not even realise. If you're in restaurants and things, then who might not know that you've had it.
Exactly.
Hey, that was a great cheese. Hey, what one was it?
Particularly Spenwood. So the nice thing about Spenwood is, because it's a made-up word. When you search for it on Instagram, everything that comes up or Twitter or wherever you search for everything that comes up pretty much is about the cheese. And I quite often will search, and there'll be a load of new posts, and it's just Spenwood, grated on top of a dish. And they quite often, it's just noted as obviously like one of the many ingredients that's gone into a dish. But it's great to know that it's in that restaurant, because it might, it's a restaurant most of the time that we haven't even heard of, and then you kind of delve into it, and it's actually like a really nice, very well respected restaurant. So it gives us kind of insights into places we should eat and stuff like that. It helps us discover like some really nice restaurants that we weren't aware of before. It's always good. But
that's really interesting. You should be very proud then. It's carrying on the legacy there, and going from strength to strength, and really getting all those cheeses out there. It's amazing. It really is. You know, what began with a very humble beginning, and now look at where it's what's so lovely speaking to all these great, you wonderful cheesemakers out there. Usually have started from someone just, yeah, I'll give it a go, and it grows and grows and grows. So it's amazing. So what are the plans for the future? You've got some different cheeses on that you're lining up that you're thinking of going into.
Yeah, so we've been playing around with a goat's cheese. Like, it's something we wanted to try for a while, and there's obviously some brilliant soft goat's cheeses and fresh goat's cheeses. So we wanted to. We tasted a few at Paxton Whitfield that were some really nice, like, hard goat's cheeses. I think there was one that was a Gouda, and it just like an amazing cheese. Hadn't really tasted anything like it before. So from there we thought, well, similarly as we did with Heckfield, let's take that Fenwood recipe again and let's apply it to a different milk, and ideally try and create something that's a little bit younger, because at the moment we have three soft cheeses that are all around sort of 8 to 10 weeks when they're eaten. And then we also have Fenwood and Heckfield, which are 8-9 months old when they're eaten. So let's try and make something that's a bit more in the middle, so something around like the 3 or 4 month age. And generally, I think those cheeses are nicer when they're that slightly younger age profile, or they have that fresher, more like lactic flavour to them, which is kind of what I wanted to delve into. And so we've started making this cheese that's called Farley, which is named after another local village. We kind of keep our names fairly regional. And yes, it's going really well. There's been a lot of interest around it already. I think, potentially because Fenwood did very well last year at the World Cheese Awards. And off the back of that, when people hear that it's a Spenwood style cheese but a goat's cheese, they're kind of really interested by it and intrigued. And it definitely has characteristics of Spenwood. But then just has that nice kind of, it's actually really nice to have alongside Spenwood, because you feel like you're having kind of a similar cheese.
Yeah.
Sorry if I cut off there, I had a call come in. You feel like you're having a similar cheese, but it's just got that really nice subtle sort of goatiness or whatever. That just brings something different to the table.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
And then from there, I think we're just looking at expanding our dairy again, hopefully next year.
Oh, really?
And that'll be I don't know if it'll be the last extension here, but we don't want to fill up this like the garden area too much. But yeah, that's we're kind of at the point now where we do need a bit more space.
Yeah. Well, luckily, like you say previously, you've got that space, and never say never. And it may be the last extension. It may not. Who knows? Depends how things go with the new goat cheese and everything else that you're doing, the workshops. This is a thing you can plan for the next time ahead, but not completely long term, because you just don't always know what's going to happen. But it sounds like it's tremendous what you've said so far. How you progress. You're obviously you're involved running it now, and you plan to be. So I mean, we'll just keep an eye on what you guys are doing. Check out the website, and obviously follow you on social media, and just well done. Brilliant.
Thank
you. It's amazing to hear insight to the history of the cheeses and how it all began. And thank you very much for taking the time out this afternoon. I know how busy you all are. It's coming up to that time of year as well. It will get busier, coming into October. I appreciate it, Jake, very much. It's lovely to catch up and chat, and we'll keep in touch. Okay.
Yeah, lovely.
Take care.
You, Lynn.
Thank you.
Take care.